thank you, Oni, first of all, taking out time and talking to CRN today. And I hope this is might not be the one of your first visits to India, since you are from here. So, what's the particular agenda that you have in mind when you're here?
No, thank you. First, thank you very much. Really appreciate you all coming here and having this conversation. The reason I'm here, we are launching the 2019 channel program globally.
Okay.
So we have revamped the entire program from grounds up, and this new program is going to enable us to accelerate with the partners. And as you know, 100% of my business goes through the partners. So it's very important for us to make sure we communicate to the partners proactively what we are trying to do and make sure they understand the program well. So that's the reason I was in Dubai earlier this week, and then we did a launch in Bangalore, we did it in Chennai yesterday, and Delhi on Friday.
Okay.
Today Mumbai, and then we are flying to Kuala Lumpur for Asia Pacific launch.
Oh, okay. So before we can delve deep into some of the facets of the program, probably I would like to understand, since you head the global channel ecosystem, how has been the growth of channel business for Forcepoint, say over the past 1 year or so? So probably if you can give a heads up on that.
No, that's a great question. See, if you look at from our perspective, we are growing double-digit year on year, and we are growing very fast. And depending upon the markets and maturity of the markets, we are growing very fast. And majority of our business is channel-driven.
Right.
What has happened is, what we are seeing enormously is channel is getting into more and more value-added services, and we are expanding our footprint. Initially, we were more into the SI space, if you will,
Right.
and more into the reseller space. This year, our focus has been, apart from the standard, we are also focusing very heavily on global strategic partners.
Okay.
So, if you look at our structure for the enterprise, high-end enterprise, we are building relationship with the global system integrators, if you will.
Okay.
And that consists of consultants, if you will. That also consists of global delivery players, if you will. And then comes our regional SIs, who are really big also, depending upon which part of the world we are talking about. And then comes our value-added resellers.
Okay.
So we are covering the entire gamut of go-to-market motion. We have also initiated an MSSP program,
Okay.
where we are going after strategic communication service providers. But we are going very selectively, where telcos will be a part of our delivery mechanism, because they control the last mile.
Okay. Okay. So if you have to split the kind of contribution they make towards this success story behind overall Forcepoint's story, what would be those, like the major contributions still coming from the traditional partners, and these new alliances are still able to match up to that level?
So if you look at the overall run rate business, is driven by the regional partners quite extensively.
Okay.
But all the large deals which we are winning lately, which is multi-million-dollar deals, is basically coming from large partners. Because what is happening is, if you look at the customers, they are also looking for more of a SLA-driven, more of an outcome-driven, end-to-end solutions. And I won't say big deals are only driven by large partners, if you will. Depending upon how the company is based, certain set of companies who are basically only North America centric or India centric, they would prefer to go with partners only based out of here. Now, if somebody has a global deployment, has 20 countries to manage, they normally go with a partner who has footprint everywhere, because everybody wants to have partners sitting in that particular country who can support those activities. So we are seeing growth in both spaces. Obviously, if you look from the scale perspective, for large deals, the enterprise players are basically playing with the end-to-end players, if you will. And we are seeing that growth happen, no doubt about it. I hope I answered your question.
Right. So when we talk about security industry per se, and from the channel perspective, it is being talked about or said that security as a domain is going to be the most lucrative space for channel partners to play in vis-a-vis other technologies that we have. So looking at this increasingly demand of security players, do you think that at this point of time Forcepoint has enough of players in its army that you are able to address any sort of requirements that is coming from the market?
So you asked a great question about how many players do we have enough saturation in the market.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. First is, let me share with you how the industry is changing. And around about $1 trillion has been spent in the last couple of years, and with 95% of attacks being successful. So if you look from that perspective, the way we are approaching the market is a little different. And I'll give you an example. If all of us sitting in this room work in the same organization, and we have the way the industry has been set is everybody is under the same policy. Now, if one of us move out of this building and go out on the street, will our security postures change? Might be, right? One of us fly to some other country, the security posture will absolutely change. One of us fly to a different country altogether, totally outside, maybe 10,000 miles away, to US, to China, to Russia, or wherever it is. Your postures will change. The way the industry has been set, your security posture changes, but your policies don't change. The way we are attacking the market or addressing the market is we are changing the way the policies are dynamic. So depending upon where you are, what your intentions are, what is your, is you the you right you, that has to be addressed properly. Okay. So what we are trying to address, every individual is being, we want to make sure behavior analytics becomes the platform of choice. All right. Now the reason I'm sharing this, because that changes the way we approach the market, because I'm going to be the organizer, the way our products monitor how is your behavior, are you the right person whom you are supposed to be saying, and has your behavior changed, and if your behavior has changed, your security will change. For doing that, we require partners who can deliver that solution. It's a very service driven approach, if you will, because you need to understand what the dynamics of the markets are, how that particular customer operates. So we require partners who can deliver that kind of solution. Right. So if you look from our perspective, we have a very good footprint of partners across the globe, and specifically in India, we have a phenomenal set of partners. I've been meeting all the partners in the last couple of weeks. Right. And we feel we have a fairly good footprint. Now, if you look at the new program, which we're going to talk down the line, which will tell you how we are trying to develop that market a better. Okay.
So probably, yeah, now in continuation with that, if you could.
So if you look from our perspective, what we want to do, Nivedan, is we want to make sure we partner with players who are really interested in working with us. And there are a couple of things. First is, what we're trying to do is make sure we understand and they understand what we are willing to offer. Right. Making sure their expertise are up to running. Second is their keenness to work with us, because I want to narrow the focus with partners who are keen to work with us. Right. And in that process, the new program talks about few things. Number one, rather than having 4 tiers, we used to have gold, platinum, gold, silver, and associate. I've reduced it to 3 tiers. Okay. So made it platinum, gold, and bronze. So I'm trying to bring the main strategy across. What we are trying to drive is called a frictionless channel. Okay. We are trying to drive a frictionless channel model where we are reducing the number of tiers, number one. Second is, we are also working out a very specific deal registration process. Okay. And the deal registration process guarantees X amount of money to a partner. Right. So that's number two. The third one is, if you register a deal with us and you end up winning, we guarantee you and we work with you in the second and the third year so that you get the benefit of the deal, which is phenomenal, because what happens is, if somebody works the deal in the first year, we want to make sure they get the advantage in the second and the third year. Right. So we want to make sure that relationship continues. The other thing which we did was, if you look at the deal registration, obviously my platinum partners are the biggest, no doubt about it. But there are a lot of bronze partners who wants to move up the value chain. Right. So what we are doing is, with the new program, we are also giving deal registration to the bronze partners. Okay. So if you're going to be a small partner, you just started a company, or you want to join Forcepoint and you want to work with us, and you see a benefit in working with us, right? We are giving the same advantage what we are giving to the platinum to the bronze to bring a net new deal to us. And we want to move them up the value chain. The other thing is, if you're a bronze and you get certified within a certain period of time, within a quarter, and you meet that revenue threshold, we are moving people from bronze to silver, bronze to gold, and gold to platinum within a quarter. We are not making them wait for a year. So those are the things. On top of that, we also are working with making sure partners are enabled properly. Okay. So that we train them well, number one. We make sure they have enough training on sales, training on pre-sales, and post-sales. Okay. So we want to make sure partners who are interested in working and buy technology. Right. So I want to make sure a couple of things. First is, I want to make sure partners understand the program well. There is a predictability in the program. so that they can drive the profitability, because many times you don't know where the profitability is going to come. I want to make sure I launch a program which continues over a period of time. Partners can see the benefit of the program. In that process, I can enable them. We train them on the technology. We help them with demand generation. We also provide them leads, provide them technical support. We are giving them NFRs and demo units. And the most important thing for platinum partners, we are launching a new program where we're giving a back-end rebate.
Okay.
We never had this back-end rebate anywhere. And the interesting part is this program is a global program. Whatever I talk to you right now, we are doing it globally across.
Okay.
So one program across, common program. The other thing which we did was we have multiple products in the past, had different discounting structure.
Okay.
We have made all the discounts exactly the same. Products carry one discount, services carry one discount. That's all. There is no, I want to make sure the channel feels as if it is effortless to work with us. Okay. That's what I'm trying to because there is a lot of cost associated in working with the OEMs.
Okay.
Administrative cost, carrying cost, etc. I want to take all that out so that they can see that working with Forcepoint becomes very profitable. There is a trustworthy relationship with the partnership. We make sure they enabled on the new technology. And they make the customer relationship much more stickier, where customers trust them, customers trust us as a valued partner. That's what we are trying to drive with this program.
So while I have 4 or 5 questions related to this program, Pearly, I'll begin with one. You mentioned about predictability, profitability. What I have also noticed that some of your non-competing OEM vendor companies, the global giants, their program also somehow the basis of those programs are on those lines itself of being simple, being predictable, being profitable. So with your experience in the industry, do you think that is the base that any channel program has to be kind of designed, or it's just a nomenclature which is being used by different companies?
That's a very good question. See, if you look at, we have to look from 3 or 4 aspects how channel operate. If you look at a channel, I have been doing this for the last 20 years.
Right.
We have to make sure we understand the DNA of the channel. First thing, we need to make sure if we keep on changing the programs every 6 months, it becomes very, very erratic for a channel to drive profitability. They don't know where to play, number one. Second is, you have to make sure there is a long-term commitment, because these people are spending their own money to invest in you.
True.
We have to guarantee something to them back, because they're putting their entire cash balance, they're making sure they work with us. So we want to make sure their investment is protected in somehow working with us. And every OEM has to look into that aspect in some form or fashion.
Right.
The second is, how can we increase their overall pie? That's what I'm looking at, and what we are trying to do is, for a channel partner to move a deal from one side, one pocket to another doesn't help, because many of the competition wants to do that. You flip the deal from one vendor to another. What I'm trying to drive is, can I increase the overall pie with something net new, which makes him to grow his top line and bottom line at the same time.
Right.
And when I say channel frictionless, there is a certain set of things we are doing. Anyway, then one thing is, we are going to come out with we'll be launching a dedicated partner portal in 3rd quarter of this year.
Okay.
Which is going to be absolutely top of the notch, where partners can interact with us, partners can get the data from us, partners can look at the information about us. That's one thing which we will be working very closely. And this is a journey which we have embarked starting around about December of last year, and by next year we will complete this first phase of journey. First one was to launch the program, second is coming out with the portal, and it's going to be a journey of how we make them more easy to work with us. Make sense?
Okay, all right. So you also talked about making the channel effortless, the whole process effortless, so that there is a stickiness of channel partners with the company. Do you think that all this idea is germinated with the thought process that there are n number of security players playing in the market, and partners do have the option of working with all those your competition? So was this the idea behind making these programs so simple and no?
See, a couple of things. First is industry is so complicated. There will be different partners in the ecosystem. You cannot work with one, but at the same time, you cannot work with 500 also.
Obviously.
So it has to be a fine balance. If you look from our perspective, I can talk about Forcepoint. We have a portfolio of products. And if I look at a channel, if I sit on the channel side, if I sit on the other side of the table and think from their perspective, they are looking to make sure they can drive economies of scale. Rather than selling a point product, can I sell one product to the customer and then I move the customer to the next product and the next product so that I can drive a commonality of behaviors, if you will. Then the economies of scale come into play and their profitability increases, right?
Right.
If you look from our perspective, we sell in the network space, we sell in the data security space, and we sell in the workspace.
Right.
So there is an entry point depending upon where you play. So if a partner has to sell only one product and forget about the rest, there is no way he can scale.
Right.
Because you require a bench to understand the technology. And how many people can you train? You cannot keep on training people on multiple technologies. There is a point of diminishing return for everything, right? So the way we are approaching is identifying the partners based on their expertise, making sure they understand the portfolio of product. And we believe that every partner will gravitate towards certain set of products which they are comfortable about. And profitability and working and trust is the major factor in the Indian market or any market for that matter.
Right.
We are trying to build that relationship with the partners going forward so that they believe in us. We drive that trust between these two, the engagement at the field level, so that they see the value of partnership, just not by margin perspective, but also from the relationship perspective. So that's what we are really focusing on, making sure our enterprise account managers, when we talk to partners, there is a two-way commitment. So if I say I'm going to work with you, and whatever we are committing, we would like to make sure we deliver those commitments.
Okay. So yeah, fine. So in any particular rationale behind doing away with the 4 tiers and making it 3 tiers, and why there is a hurry of converting bronze into gold and gold into platinum? You said they didn't have to wait for a year period of time. So what was the thought process behind?
So first is I want to make it simple. My entire objective, what I've realized is if it make it too complicated, it's very hard for channel partners to play.
Okay.
I want my partners to feel that they're easy for them. Second is I want to make sure they get a clear line of sight for growth. Because there are certain advantage for being a platinum partner.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm extremely transparent to them, saying that even if you start today, I'm not going to hold you for the next 1 year to become platinum and get the advantage. If you want to go and if you can drive those volumes and those certifications which are most important for you to be critical for us, and you are showing that commitment, I want to make sure they get advantage of all those features within that quarter, if you will.
Okay.
So 3 things. First is making sure I simplify it. Second is the most important thing is making sure they get the benefit based on their commitment to us on certification as well as on the revenue threshold. So that I don't want them to wait for the entire year to get all the benefits.
Right.
So that's the way I'm looking at it. And this resonated pretty well with the partners I presented, and they were very happy, saying that you are giving a fair chance for us to win. And because a year is a long time.
Right. So lastly on this program part, the enablement part, you said there is a renewed focus on that. So with your kind of a high growth security product line that you have, what differentiated approach that you will be taking vis-a-vis your competition when it comes to enablement part?
So I can speak about us. What we are trying to do is we are enabling the partners on they can do a self-paced training for sales and pre-sales. And there is also a training on administrator for pre-sales, which they can do it over internet, if you will. So self-paced is they can do it whatever time.
Right.
On top of that, for high-end, the tier 3 professional services, we are launching a program in next 60 days, where we will be training our partners who are keen to work with us and deliver solutions. And for selected set of partners, we are offering them a very special package for them to get on board with us. So I'm working with specific industry in India specifically to identify which are the players for the specific industry they are keen to get certified.
Okay.
And we will be promoting them, making sure we give a hands-on training. We are also working with making sure they have an NFR program so that they can buy the product at the lower price points.
Okay.
So we are enabling them as an ecosystem rather than just giving a document. We want to make sure they understand the program, they understand the profitability, they understand how to work with us. So it's an entire package we are giving them in this entire end-to-end program.
Okay. So when you interact with partners globally, in India, if you talk specifically as a market, we are seeing a lot of, like, from technology perspective, we'll see a lot of born in cloud kind of partners mushrooming up in the last couple of years. And we are seeing the similar trend being followed in security domain also. They are partners of only working in security space. So is this a global phenomenon or it's something peculiar about the India market as such?
This is very interesting. Cloud is going to be a very critical pivot point, if you will, even from security perspective. There is a lot of movement happening in the cloud globally, and we are seeing a massive adoption happening on the cloud side from our product standpoint. As you know, we launched our new Dynamic Edge product at RSA event. We believe that the partners will play a critical role for us, and born in the cloud partners are equally important for us if you look at. But I also feel our current partners will pivot pretty fast and start collaborating with people who deliver. Because if you look at the market, there will be certain applications which will move to cloud, but on-prem will still continue in some form or fashion.
Right.
The advantage working with Forcepoint for our partners is you can continue managing the on-prem story and migrate people to cloud and seamlessly manage these two worlds, if you will, because that's where the power lies. Because won't be any customer that they will say, I want to move everything to cloud in one shot, provided he's not starting from scratch.
Right.
So the way our partners add value is they know our on-prem solution, we are giving them a cloud solution, and they can manage these two worlds with one management console. So if you look at, that trend which you asked for is happening everywhere.
Okay.
And we work with Azure, we work with Microsoft Azure, we work with AWS. So we have a fairly extremely good relationship with both these partners.
So what you mean to say that whether it's US market or Europe or India, Asia Pacific, there's the same approach being taken?
Fairly same, yeah. I'm seeing fairly same approach in most of these places.
So when you interact with partners with varied experience and different geographies, do you see any commonality in their approach when they talk to customers, or every region has its own way of operating in the market as such?
I would say a couple of things. First is every partner has one objective, is making the customer successful. Whichever world, whichever language you want to speak, they want their customers to be successful.
Right.
Second thing which I have seen is they want to make sure they get an opportunity to make sure they sell multiple products in that opportunity. I'll talk from my perspective of talking to partners. They want to make sure if they win a deal on a certain platform, they want to attach more products down the line and manage the customer end to end so that they can provide the value. That's number two. Obviously, every one of them want to be profitable.
Right.
That's the bottom line. But profitability comes obviously very important in the scheme of things. But I won't say that's the only factor across the globe. Everybody wants their customers to be successful.
Right.
Because they know if the customer is successful, profitability will automatically come. And that's what I'm seeing across the partner ecosystem. The one thing which I'm seeing which is a little different than what I've seen in the last many years is that many of the partners have started thinking about cloud quite aggressively. The cloud from marketplace perspective, offering as a SaaS platform, offering as a managed services platform. Partners are pivoting into that area pretty fast. If you look at, and that's across the globe. I'm seeing that in India. In the last couple of days, I spoke to partners. I've seen that happening in Latin America. The same goes in Europe and also in North America. And I'm pretty sure the same goes with other parts of the Asia also.
So apart from it's being deployed across the vertical industries, partners are working. But now that there are a lot of talk about some of the other emerging digital technologies like AI, machine learning, IoTs, and SD-WAN is one area where Forcepoint is closely looking on. So how are you kind of gearing your partners on these emerging techs that we have?
See, as I shared with you, the policy, dynamic policy management is our key, because our business analytics engine, which we have, is our secret sauce to success. Okay. The way we are looking at human-centric behavior.
Right.
Our objective is to manage not organizations, but make sure we monitor the behavior of individuals within the privacy limits. So our business analytics engines drive that behavior, and that's one of the focal point of our security posture, if you will. If you look from the overall strategic standpoint, business analytics is one. SD-WAN is a massive growth area for us. We are seeing enormous amount of momentum. We just won a massive deal in North America, in India, which is one of the largest SD-WAN deal in the country. So we are seeing a momentum in SD-WAN because our product has a very key feature which the industry doesn't have. In most of the cases, where we are one of the key players, where our SD-WAN solution can manage cloud and on-prem with single management tool, and which it's a very unique proposition in the industry. We are going out, and a lot of partners are really keen to work that piece out because they want to control the cloud as well as the on-prem with one single platform.
Right.
This other thing which is working, which I talked about, the policy management, is dynamic data protection. A lot of people have heard about DLP,
right.
but Forcepoint is positioning not DLP but DDP. So dynamic data protection is protecting your data with a dynamic policy management,
right.
which is unique to the industry. Because just by protecting data doesn't help you. You have to make sure your data is protected on a dynamic basis, depending upon where you are,
right.
and what your intentions are. So we are monitoring that from the DP, and DDP is really doing great for us, because the message resonates with the customers. The partners are very interested because it has a lot of services associated with it. So it's a win-win tool. So, and then we launched the dynamic edge protection, which is a single client edge product.
Right.
And that's going to be we will be shipping the product from third quarter of this year, and we are very excited about it, very excited about it, because then the entire portfolio is going to be dynamic policy management platform, which allows partners to deliver this entire thing and make sure the policies are dynamic.
So as I believe, as part of this your Converge security platform, you also came up with some technology partner ecosystem. So how the creation of this human-centric partner ecosystem, do you think that it will enable customers to achieve the digital transformation outcomes that they are expecting, say, few years down the line?
So, Nivedan, the way we believe that this is going to be security is not a single product solution. You have to have partnerships to enable. Like, for example, in the identity access management, we are partnering with a couple of the key players, if you will. We do not have an identity access management product.
Right.
We are working very closely with the cloud players, if you will, like Azure as well as AWS, very closely. So we believe that providing an end-to-end class product line where I can ingest data from different sources and make sure we are giving an outcome-based solution to the customer is what customers are looking for. End of the day, if you look from customers, they are looking for making sure their data is protected, their individual assets are protected. Do they really want to know which product you are using? It is based on the partner who has the capability to stitch all the different kind of product. So what we are trying to do is, when a partner goes to have those conversations, we are taking care of all the back-end connectivity with these players, if you will. That's what our ecosystem, we are trying to work this piece out. We are making sure we can run on AWS seamlessly. We're working to make sure all the API interfaces with Azure is taken care. We are trying to make sure we are working with all the IAM vendors, if you will. So that when the partner goes to an account and sees a heterogeneous environment, I want to make sure it's seamless for them to deliver. It doesn't require them to work extra. That work is being taken care by us, so that the engineering engagement, the making sure our products talk to the other products seamlessly, that's what we are trying to do, so that the partners can focus on delivery and managing the customer, we take care of the engineering piece of it. So that's what we are trying to drive.
Okay. So going forward, how are you kind of going to bring more and more dynamic selling opportunities for your global channel ecosystem that you have?
See, obviously, there are multiple. It's not a one single thing which we can do. First is we are engaging at a very, very strategic level from the demand generation perspective and making sure we funnel that to our top partners, number one. Second is awareness. We are trying to build a massive awareness across the globe, making sure we are talking to customers to create what our new product does,
Right.
how it resonates with their environment, and making sure partners are part of that process. So we did our sales kickoff this year, and you will be amazed to know that we invited 100 partners sitting in the same room with entire sales organization, and they were part of our family. They were part of the same ecosystem. They went into all the meetings we went into, and there was nothing confidential. We shared everything with our partners. So we are trying to make sure we create an ecosystem of partners who we create trust and loyalty from both sides, not only from our standpoint but also from their standpoint. They should believe in Forcepoint is committed to my success.
Right.
The moment that happens, force multipliers play then partners start believing in us. And I think partners love Forcepoint as a company. We just need to increase the scale of our the footprint, if you will, and that's what we are trying to do with this new program, so that they see this as a wider game for them, how they can grow with us.
Okay. Lastly, what does the entire vision of creating human-centric security mean for your trusted partners as well as customers?
Human-centric go-to-market approach is very important for our success, because we are the only OEM who is focusing on that, and it has quite a lot of positive outcome, if you will. And partners play a critical role, because when they start talking to the customers and delivering the services and delivering the solutions, they will see the benefit of this relationship, because they will be able to drive more efficacy, better control of security, making sure they can drive better SLA. Because what is happening is if you can deliver and protect your customers from being attacked, your mission is accomplished. We are giving a tool to accomplish that mission. We are enabling the partner to deliver that kind of commitment, because if the attack happens, then the objective is lost. We have to predict it before it happens. That's what we are trying to do. What we are giving the partner is a tool to make sure, because if the attack happens, then it is a cleanup process. We are approaching the market totally differently. We are telling them we will predict ahead of the curve if the attack will happen, or attack might happen, or individuals are playing, or individuals are not being exposed, or they are not being careful. We are telling all those things ahead of the curve, so that the partners can go and communicate to the customer. This individual might be doing something which might not be in line with your expectation. And again, within the privacy policy of every individual, we want to make sure we are taking that into account. But that information is extremely powerful, because if I can go and tell a customer saying that I will be able to tell you ahead of the curve, or at least that there is an expected security breach going to happen, I think we have done our job. Because the attack or the exposure to security basically creates enormous amount of time lapse of cleaning up process, and that's what happens. It's like if a device fails, you have to wait for a couple of hours or a couple of days to get it fixed. If you can predict it ahead of the curve, that's what we want to know, because before something happens, if you predict it, that's great. We are trying to drive that behavior, and the interesting part is the partners play a critical role, because they understand the ecosystem of the customer better than anybody else. And again, as I said, this is going to be a heterogeneous environment. We want to make sure partners know how to stitch this together. And we are trying to create an environment or an ecosystem where we create the engineering connectivity ahead of the curve, so that they can deploy these technologies seamlessly to the customers. And I believe this is where the entire market is going, and the channel partners are going to play a critical role in this. And we have a strong belief that we will continue working very strongly, and partners have communicated to us that they are keen to work with us, because they see the value to their customers.
So lastly, again, I'm coming
No,
a
go ahead,
last
go ahead.
question. Any larger message that you want to give out to your partner ecosystem through our platform?
First is Forcepoint is committed to partner success. 100% of my business goes through partners. We want to partner with channel partners who are interested in working with us, who are willing to commit to us, and we will go an extra mile to help them on enablement, demand generation, make sure they are profitable, all these program features. We want to make it seamless. We want to make it frictionless. That's one of the key areas where we are focusing, and this is not only from channel perspective. This is at the organizational level. Frictionless channel is one of our key initiatives for 2019 and going forward. Frictionless channel is the key message which we are driving across the organization. Whatever we are doing, we are making sure frictionless channel is part of that message. Whether you're launching a product, whether we are defining technology, whether how is it going to help our channel to be successful. And I have worked in many companies till now. They normally think about maybe the end user customer, or they think about their technology, and channel comes later on in the overall scheme of things, and you know that very well.
Right.
Our entire core discussion is based on, if we do this, how does it impact the channel? If we do X, can we channel take it to the market positively? So the entire discussion is driving towards that, and we believe that if partners are interested in working with us and they want to work with us, this is a great company to work. We are committed to making our partners successful, and I would embrace all the partners who are interested in working with us, along with my entire channel organization, and telling them, welcome to Forcepoint. We want to work with you.
All right, Oni. Thank you once again for taking out time and talking to CRN. It's just a pleasure having you here.
Same here. Thank you very much for your time.